So I absolutely love my Panasonic G9. It's an absolute workhorse, it's weather sealed, it's built like a tank, and it just fits really good in the hand. It's a good heft to it, right? But it's pretty old. And Panasonic recently posted this on their Instagram, where we see the Micro Four Thirds mount and a new phase. So there's been rumors about a G9 Mark II for a while, and I think this pretty much confirms it. So on September 12th, they're going to announce this. And I'd like to kind of give my hopes and my predictions for what this Mark II of the G9 would look like. So the easiest prediction here is phase detection autofocus. It's on their full frame lineup, so their S series. And for anyone that doesn't know, the G9, which I currently have, uses contrast-based autofocus. How that works is it looks for a bright pixel next to a dark pixel and it waits for them to be in focus, essentially. With phase detection, it actually uses the phase of the light, so like the distance between them and a bunch of other sciencey things, but essentially it's more accurate in low light and probably even regular situations. 9 times out of 10, the autofocus on my G9 works perfectly. But for video, I find it struggles a bit. So if there's anything out of focus in this video, that's the G9. So I can see phase detection being a bit of an improvement, and it's definitely something that people seem to think they want. Would I upgrade just for phase detection autofocus? Probably not, but I'm just a hobbyist. So I'm also predicting a slightly higher megapixel count. So as far as I know, the GH6 with 25 megapixels is the highest megapixel count on a Micro Four Thirds camera. That's not that much really when you compare to the current offerings from Canon, Nikon, Sony. I've heard people say that the Micro Four Thirds sensor, because it's so small, that's the most megapixels you can have on that sensor. And I probably wouldn't upgrade just for a 5 megapixel bump. But what I think they could do here is fix the high resolution mode on the G9. So the G9 and a few of the Olympus cameras as well have this really interesting option where the actual sensor moves a pixel and a pixel and a pixel, and it stitches a bunch of images together that it takes by moving the sensor ever so slightly, and you end up with, on the G9, an 80 megapixel file. The only problem is that takes a while, and if there's any motion in the scene, it's not that great, and you really need to be on a tripod or handheld at a very wide angle. I think if we could up the sensor to 25 megapixels, but have it so the high resolution mode works faster and is less reliant on being stable, that's a good middle ground. So if we could get it so I could comfortably handhold, let's say your lens needs stabilization, right? Handhold the shutter and get an 80 megapixel file, I'd be happy out. For high speed bursts, yeah, sure, just use the regular 25 megapixel sensor. But if we could get some sort of technology that moves the sensor in a much faster way than on the current G9, I think that's gonna keep the Micro Four Thirds people happy because they can still use their existing lenses and existing mounts and whatnot, but also appeal to introduce more people to the system because it's got the higher megapixel count. And my last prediction is, it's pretty easy. It's just USB-C. Everything in my camera bag, so my drone, my GoPro, my 360 camera, even my earphones, all charge with USB-C, except my G9, which charges with micro B. But it also supports the big one that all mechanical hard drives would use. USB micro B 3.0. It's a bit of a mouthful. I think it's pretty likely they're going to go to USB-C. As far as I know, their S lineup uses USB-C, and a few of the newer offerings from Olympus also use USB-C. I think it's just the way to go. We could get faster transfer times without having to get a specific card reader, just plugging in through the Thunderbolt connection on a MacBook or something like that. And how handy would it be to just have one charger for everything in your camera bag? I think it'd be pretty great. So now onto my hopes. My biggest hope is that we get a similar form factor. The G9 is renowned for how good it feels in the hand. The big bulky handle, but still kind of small, it's brilliant. So if we could keep everything essentially the same in terms of the basic design, form factor, and just placement of buttons and everything on the camera, that'd be great. My only caveat with that is I wish the joystick would move slightly over to the side. I feel like I have to grip the camera and then move slightly more to be able to use the joystick. If possible, I'd like the batteries to be kept the same. You gotta think a lot of people that have their G9 as their daily workhorse for professional work, and they're gonna be upgrading. They have all these spare batteries and battery chargers, and if they could just pop them in, that'd be great. Or for the battery grip. I don't know many people that use the battery grip for their G9, but if we could keep it so that also works, that'd be great. So the idea is just upgrade the camera, don't come out with a new camera and a bunch of accessories because the old ones are ever so slightly too different to not work with it. Then on for video, so I'm filming this on my G9 at the moment. I'm not a big video guy. I film for this channel and a bit of social media stuff, so I don't really know that scene very well, but I would like to see vlog included. So this video is being shot on vlog, so I'll show you that now. This is me in vlog, and this just gives me more options in post for color correction, or if I'm filming in bad light like this in this bedroom with natural light and then bulbs. So on the G9 it was included as an extra that you'd have to buy. I think it was like €100 or $100, about that much. And you would upgrade the firmware of the camera and that would give you vlog. So the capabilities were already there, but they were charging extra for it after the fact. I bought my G9 used and it came with this upgrade already. I wouldn't want to see like a G9 and then the G9 Pro, which has vlog built in and whatever. And just in the vein of video, keep the mic output where it is, keep the headphone output where it is. I actually love this camera for video. Again, I don't do much professional stuff. I've never put it on like a gimbal or anything like that. But for just doing pieces to camera, it's brilliant. So that's pretty much everything. I'd love like for Panasonic to focus on improvements rather than just little tacky extras. Not that they really do. They seem to know what people want on their cameras. We don't talk about this. But, you know, I'd rather see them add USBC than add a pop-up flash that's not really that useful 90% of the time. So what do you think? Is there anything you'd like to add? Do you agree with my points? Let me know in the comments below, and I'm hoping that on September 12th it is an announcement of the G9 Mark II. And who knows, maybe I'll compare my predictions or look at what the specs they release and compare that then to my current G9, see what the crack is there. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, give me a thumbs up or a subscribe, that helps a lot. Going to be doing more stuff with my G9, about the G9, and photography in general. So, cheers.